Bro, that's an 8-minute story in itself.
You've done a lot of shark fishing here in the cove. Tell us about the day you hooked into that 11-footer and how did you bring that in? How did that whole thing go down?
Well, once I knew I was targeting them, I was using 100-pound Dacron and a wire leader. I wanted something that was bigger than me. I was disappointed when it only came in at 200 pounds. But I was doing my thing. I caught my bait and was trolling it and dragging the bucket of chum, and you know, in my mind, I know where the fingers and the cliffs of the channels are out here, the canyon, and you can see out there when it's calm. You can see the current break, and there's a current break right over the edge of the canyon, and I know they like to cruise along the edge of the canyon, so I would go up and down along that current break, going transversely, going back and forth across it, because bait and the larger fish, they like to follow those current breaks. So I was doing that and hooked up, and I knew I had something big, but I didn't know how big until it jumped a few times. Fishers like to jump, and but then it just took off north, and a buddy of mine was on his kayak fishing with me, and there was a wake coming off my board. I was doing probably 10 knots, and I looked over his shoulder and said, I'm headed to El Dormar, but I was joking at the time, but and I tried to stand up, because I wanted to stand up and surf behind it, but I didn't have enough wax on my board, and I slipped a couple of times. I went, no, I think I'm just going to sit this one out. So I just sat there with my feet alongside of the board and went for a ride. It towed me all the way north of the trellis, the south end of Del Mar, before I went, you know what, that's far enough. And so I sat down and I dug my legs in, and I was kicking the board backward and gave it enough resistance that it turned it around. At that point, it had taken 80% of my line, so I got all my line back when he turned around, and it came back around. He towed me back here to La Jolla, and I was worried about the kelp, but he went around the kelp, and then straight out southwest, and about 5 miles off the coast of the Horseshoe Marine Street area is a high ground, and Scripps Research had a buoy out there. And we got close to that. I thought he was going to wrap me on that, so I turned him around again. And then he came back in, and within about 2 miles outside of the Horseshoe Marine Street area, came to a stop, and we were doing the up and down. And basically I brought him up, and he was still pretty dead, and I wake up a little bit when you gaff him, but he was pretty gone. I cut him just to make sure that he didn't wake up and start thrashing around. And I looked at my watch again. I looked at my watch at the beginning and looked at it again, and it had been 3.5 hours. It towed me around for 3.5 hours. Then so I'm paddling in with this guy, and a boat comes over, but it was, you know, the first one was on the news and stuff, because we hung it underneath the shack, and I called my buddy that was a sports writer, and hey Ed, come check this thing out. And so there were boats around me, and they go, hey, you want a hand with that? And I told you I was kind of arrogant. No, I'm Scott Cherry, I don't need any fucking help, you know. So I'm paddling in with this thing tied to the side of my board, and I stopped to drink some water, and I'm chuckling, damn, got another one. This one's bigger, and I was, you know, pretty full of myself. And then, bam, I hit my leg real hard. I looked down, and there's a 6-footer, just, you know, and I thought it was a mako at first, and so that made me nervous. They're pretty ugly, but so then I, at that point, I And all that arrogant pride went away pretty quick. I was going, boat. You know?
Yeah.
In a god of a freedom, honey, don't you know that I'm loving you? In a god of a freedom, baby, don't you know that I'll always be true?